There's Kobe. I'm planting some trees. EG kept running towards the big trees.
This way.
I didn't go too far, I don't think.
You further than Troy.
I stopped for the acacia.
Okay, Shaw. Chicken. Killed it.
This is my favorite wood. Acacia wood.
Ah! I see a reindeer. Killed it.
What? Oh yes. So EG, when you cut down these big trees that are 4, you try to find the ones that are like 2 by 2. And then you just cut like a, make like a spiral.
Oh,
So you like make a spiral staircase as you cut.
yeah. And does it grow back or like?
No, you just do that all the way up, and then so you don't have to build anything to get to the top, and then you just cut all the way down. But make sure you get
I see.
all the wood, otherwise all the leaves will like stay there.
That looks wild.
What?
Those trees from down here.
Where are you?
In the tree next to y'all.
I see you! Oh, I'm in a really big tree.
Yeah, you're way up there. I don't think I have an axe to get back down.
I don't know, I'm gonna give it to them. Oops. How do I feed it to them?
That I don't know.
I don't know either.
Trigger. I don't know if they're
Not getting any of the seeds.
the tall grass. I give it to the red bird, but the blue one's following me. Does someone have a house over here? Or did you guys just build those things?
I just built a crafting table and one box to put stuff in.
Okay.
And a bunch of extra axes in case anybody needs. Now we will never be short on wood again. Got a compliment today about my handlebar mustache. It was so unexpected. You handsome man. I was shopping and someone came up to me. Metal is a handsome man. Whoa! Where did Kobe come from?
That, chest.
Help! 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 There's zombies everywhere.
Oh! I just watched him die. I'm just here to live and die. That's it. Metal. Metal. We're working on you. Do you think that is the purpose? You think there is no purpose? It's just an accident. Just random atoms and molecules on a random speck. You have potatoes? Can I have some?
Yes.
Oh no. I didn't do it.
That was a very delayed yes. Were you thinking about it? Is it a major sacrifice? Then you don't need to. I got carrots for
If
days.
you plant them, yeah, if you plant them, they'll exponentially grow.
Yeah, that's why I only need a few.
I have 28. I can definitely give you half.
Sweet. Thank you. Time to make another row of farm. One more. I haven't got it yet. Mac is here. What's going on, Mac? How you doing tonight? We're playing a little Minecraft. Oh my gosh, it's midnight. We're almost done with Minecraft.
I was just getting sleepy.
Holy cow.
Me too, I was just about to jump off.
Wow, I was not paying attention. Right, we're gonna have to take a break here and get into the readings. Step 8. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Do to others as you would have them do to you. Luke 6:31. In step 9, what we're starting tonight, we made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift. Matthew 5:23-24. So this is part of their worship. This is kind of like part of going to church. So this is Jesus talking, and he's saying, if someone has something against you, go reconcile that difference. Even like before you come to worship, before you come to church, go reconcile. We are not going to be in the Bible today. We're not doing the questions. This is just the intro to step 9. Making direct amends must be done under the supervision of a sponsor advisor. Not everyone on the list of harms will need direct contact. In Stan's case, making direct amends would be treacherous because of the potential to further destroy the marriages of those involved. To talk to the husbands or contact the women would be disastrous to the possibility of their moving past the harm already done. To avoid injuring these people on Stan's list, his sponsor and counselor agreed that his amends to these women and their husbands would have to be no contact by email, phone, or in person. He would have to make a living amends by learning to treat women as people, not as objects of his pleasure. Present here are defects of ego, arrogance, and devaluing. This meant that he would have to change his behavior around all women as part of his recovery. It also meant that he would have to accept any consequences that came his way. If any of these women filed suit, or if their husbands retaliated in some way. The direct amends would be to Stan's wife and children because they needed direct expression of his sorrow over his behavior for their own healing. Besides a direct verbal statement to his wife, he would also have to make living amends to her. He must learn to treat his wife with more respect, honor, and value, to let her know how important she is to him by his words and behaviors. This is 6 pages, by the way. For his children, Stan would have to verbally admit his wrongs, depending on how much they knew about the affairs, and also to commit himself to model a healthy marriage in everyday life with their mother. Step 9 sounds very exacting, but it is the beginning of a lifetime of changed behavior. Like Stan, we must be willing to continually amend our attitudes and actions with everyone. The verbal admission of guilt and request for forgiveness must be followed by a changed heart and changed treatment of those we have harmed. Step 9, we made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. In step 9, we put into practice the principles of the first 8 steps: powerlessness, restoration to sanity, surrender, inventory of wrongs, willingness, and seeking help. To all this, we add making amends. The word amend means to change. This is not an apology step of groveling self-humiliation. Instead, it is admitting to the people we have wronged that we know and understand the pain we have caused, and that we are committed to changing our behavior so that we will avoid causing any more pain. This step is about direct amends wherever possible, so we will go to these people personally or write them a letter. I don't know if it's going to mention it, but some of them might be deceased or there's no way for you to even track them down. In those cases, a lot of times we write the letter, even if we're just burning it after or whatever, just to get it out there. When we are face to face with these people, we need to have the previous steps principles at work in us to be able to accomplish our goal. Why would we put ourselves at such risk of exposure and shame? Step 9 offers us the opportunity to become free from the past. We can heal our relationships with others, with God, and with ourselves. In Genesis 33, 1-11, we see this step in action as Jacob offered financial amends to his brother Esau by sending flocks of livestock before they met face to face. He was totally fearful of Esau's reaction to seeing him again after all the deception and thievery Jacob had practiced at Esau's expense. Jacob had to experience being deceived himself. Jacob had to experience being deceived himself before he gained enough humility to recognize his faults. The positive, healing outcome of this relationship was years in the making. In the same way, we have been through the pain of addiction, and now we are on a path of recovery that takes time. We must be willing to accept whatever response we are given. We must be willing to repair and resolve whatever is broken down in the relationship, even if the other rejects our offer to do so. As with Jacob, our willingness to go the extra mile is part of the spirit of Step 9. The gifts Jacob sent to Esau were part of making restitution for the injury he had done, and an expression of humility for his wrongs. In Step 9, we also become more realistic about ourselves and clean our side of the street, so to speak. When we are willing and open, God seems to give us a nudge to remind us of past promises on which we have not followed through. We may have damaged others' trust in us. We may have had extensive intentions, yet we can show no tangible evidence of those big plans and ideas. David had the experience of remembering an unfulfilled promise, as recorded in 2 Samuel 9, 1-9. Like David, we need reminders of promises we have left unfulfilled. Step 9 gives us the assignment of remembering and acting on this. Making direct amends wherever possible really challenges us to take opposite action from what our addictive personality would do automatically. Addictive behavior would be to cover up, hide, and avoid seeing anyone who might be angry with us or upset by our actions. Jesus challenges us in the Sermon on the Mount. So if you are presenting a sacrifice at the altar in the temple and you suddenly remember that someone has something against you, leave your sacrifice there at the altar. Go and be reconciled to that person. Then come and offer your sacrifice to God. When you are on the way to court with your adversary, settle your differences quickly. Otherwise, your accuser may hand you over to the judge, who will hand you over to an officer, and you'll be thrown into prison. Matthew 5, 23-25. Jesus knew that if there is a broken relationship with resentment on one or both sides, we are not spiritually free to worship God. The harmed person could also put that resentment into action and create great pain for us in retaliation. In other words, spiritual and physical bondage are the consequences of harming others with no attempt to repair it. When we learn to set right, to the best of our ability, the situations in which we have caused hurt and actually change our behavior to stop the harmful results, we are turning from the old addictive pattern to a new recovery behavior. Step 9 places an astounding call on our lives to repair our relationships, transform our inner self, and learn a new way of living. In Ezekiel 33, 10-16, there's a list of amending actions: to return what was stolen, to obey God's life-giving laws, and to stop doing what is evil. When we confront the utter self-centeredness which has motivated the actions, drives, goals, and feelings of our lives, we may be daunted by the enormity of the recovery life. We may wonder whether this new life is really possible for us. We may have observed people who have attempted recovery from addiction only to return to drinking, overeating, and sexually acting out. We may wonder if continual recovery is possible. Our response must be to allow God to do His work in us by surrendering the outcomes and simply taking action. Recovery is possible if we stay the course and take one day at a time. Working the first 8 steps creates a readiness and willingness to assess our past mistakes, even when this is uncomfortable. In step 9, we actually take action to correct them. In Luke 19, 1-9, Zacchaeus, we were just hearing about that in church today, in our service during Minecraft. Zacchaeus came to Jesus, and he was inspired to take an inventory of himself. He recognized that he had harmed others as part of being a tax collector for the Roman government. When he realized this, he publicly promised Jesus that he would amend his wrongs and make restitution for them. Jesus commended his attitude and actions as evidence of his spiritual change, i.e., salvation. This demonstrates the critical importance of step 9. We are in the process of spiritual development, and making amends is the first public display of our recovery from addiction and sin. The amends process will often present situations that call for financial restitution. How will we respond? Zacchaeus made amends by giving away half of his wealth. Then he gave more to people he had cheated face to face. This is an example of direct amends. A person who can make direct amends visibly shows humility, compassion, and the realization of his place before God. Salvation comes as we start to think more of others than ourselves. The amends process in step 8 and 9 brings out the unfinished business in our lives. We may discover past traumas that must be faced and dealt with if we are to maintain our recovery. We need to talk to our sponsor, counselor, or other trusted advisor so we are not working with such issues alone. But they must be dealt with and resolved, or they will follow us daily as though we are chained to them. We may not have caused or asked for these traumas to occur, but we may have to make amends to ourselves for playing the victim or curtailing our lives as a result of trauma. Step 9 allows us a new kind of freedom with ourselves, other people, and God. Restoration of relationship with self is an important outcome of step 9. I skipped this the first time through. I didn't have myself on the list from step 8. There is no more need to run when we have gone face to face with those we have harmed and sought to make things right with them. We no longer need to run because the slate is clean. We no longer need to speculate about forgiveness. We have forgiveness. As we allow step 9 to work in our lives, a new set of attitudes begin to emerge. Because of life-changing relationship with God they developed, the first 100 alcoholics to follow the 12 steps found that they could promise these results. This is out of the Big Book, for those of you familiar. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Big Book 83-84. When we work the 12 steps to the best of our ability, they become realities in our hearts and lives. These are the changes we can expect when we earnestly seek the spiritual structure for life described in the 12 steps. That is the intro. Next week, these are the questions if you want to think about them in advance. We're going to be reading Genesis 33, 1 through 11. Who are the people on my step 8 list who strike the most intense fear in my heart when I think about making amends face to face? They're often the most important. Do I have supportive people to help me gain willingness to take such a challenging step? Do I have an advisor or sponsor to work with me? We might do double. We might read 2 Samuel 9, 1 through 9 next week too. How have my thoughts, opinions, and ideas affected the decisions I have made? There's a good discussion question. Is there anyone to whom I owe amends due to forgetting, either on purpose or unintentionally, to fulfill a promise? Yeah, we'll probably do Probably do all 4 of those questions next Saturday.